Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, we are not in the yoga room. We are in the makeup room, aka my bedroom. And so today's video is a continuation of that skincare series that I started, talking about my struggles with acne as a kid, finding out that I actually was diagnosed with rosacea as a kid. I had no idea. Going on Accutane, and now dealing with rosacea coming off of Accutane. So let's talk about rosacea. I have been dealing with rosacea more so now than I ever have before in my life. My cystic acne is gone, but as you can see on my face, I don't always get fully red flushed, which most people kind of associate with rosacea. I do get these little red spots that resemble acne, which is a little frustrating because that's what I was trying to get rid of with the Accutane, but this is not acne. These are spots from rosacea. This is how my skin responds to heat and stress. So being that I am a yoga instructor and a fitness instructor, that's why I usually have these, because I'm getting warm almost every single day. So I am going to do a makeup video for you guys today. Thanksgiving, when I post this video, it will probably be about a week and a half away or so. So I thought today I would show you guys what I got in my VIB sale bag at Sephora and do a little bit of a Thanksgiving festive look, all with products that I have found to be rosacea friendly. Now keep in mind, rosacea is not a one size fits all kind of a thing. What works for me may not work for you, but I am going to go ahead and give you my personal thoughts on some products, show you what I got during the VIB sale at Sephora, and I'm gonna go ahead and do my hair really fast, and I'll see you back here in a little bit. Okay, so hair is done, mostly dry. I can never really get my hair completely dry. So we're gonna get into the makeup. My hands are washed, everything's ready to go. I washed my face, I moisturized, toned, everything like that, so I am good to go. So the first thing we're going to do is go in with some primer. So I'm going to grab my Tatcha Silk Canvas. This is not something that I got in my bag this time at Sephora, but I did recently purchase this, and it puts all other primers that I have used to shame. I'm gonna clip my hair back. Okay. I have tried recording this video now about 3 times. Trying to make sure that I stay in the camera. I have the camera centered now. It was off to the side so that I could see. So now hopefully you all can see what I'm doing. These makeup videos are a learning process. All right. Now this primer is, I think, one of the best things that I have used for my very hypersensitive skin. I used to use Smashbox Photo Finish Primer, which I still like, and I don't think that it ever made my skin worse, but I feel like when I use this, it makes my skin feel better. It actually feels like it is skincare and makeup put into one. So I just put this all over my face, forehead, make sure I get into the areas where there might be some fine lines, tap the eyes, get that on the eyes, make sure I get into each nook and cranny there, and blend that onto the neck as well. Giving that a second to melt into the skin, I am going to dive into the first thing that was in my Sephora haul this time, which is the Cover FX, make sure that's the right side, Power Play Foundation. This is in shade N25 for me, and that retails for $44. I'll grab my one that I have been using. Actually, I'm gonna shake it first. This is a brand that is very centered around being good for sensitive skin. Cover FX has no mineral oil, has no sulfates, no phthalates, And yes, this is the first foundation that I've used that really truly does not seem to bother my skin. So I'm gonna go in with a foundation brush. This is from Sephora. This is from one of their gift sets that's actually out this year. Retails for $49. This was not in my bag this time. I actually got these when they first came out because I was in desperate need for some brushes. And I'm going to take a very small amount, if you can see that. And I like to start at my jawline, just moving in little circles and tapping, making sure to blend out onto the neck by the ear. And I'm just going to continue doing that with the entire face. So once I get everything blended out with my brush, I like to go in with a damp beauty sponge, which I swear I'm gonna clean after this video. And I like to build another layer of coverage. Cover FX foundation is very buildable. It's very full coverage. For most people, one layer might be enough. I like to be really full coverage. I obviously have some imperfections that I would like to just make sure are covered. So I'm just going to bounce gently with another layer of product, maybe slightly thinner layer this time, just building onto that coverage and just really making sure everything's blended. I feel like using that beauty sponge over top of anything is just a great way to make sure that it is super blended, super airbrushed looking, and just flawless. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Another thing you might want to consider if you are a rosacea prone person, a beauty sponge might be a great way for you to apply skincare products, foundation, and things like that to your face. If you are sensitive to friction on your face and rubbing, getting this damp, it feels nice and cool, nice and gentle, very soft, and it's not as irritating. That's kind of another reason why I like to go in with this. It doesn't just make for a beautiful, flawless, airbrush looking foundation, but it also is more gentle and is a little easier on my face when I use this. So after I am done with the foundation, I'm going to go in and do my brows first because I'm doing a bit more of a glam look today. I think that the holidays are the perfect time to go big or go home. So I'm gonna do the full shebang with the brows. This is a drugstore brand that I have been loving. I've been using the Milani Brow Pomade. This is in shade number 2, which is Natural Taupe. And it kind of looks like the Anastasia Beverly Hills pot of brow pomade. It comes with its own spoolie and brush duo. And I just like to take this and collect my product. I sort of scrape the brush along the top of the pot on both sides to get the very tip of that brush super thin and compact so that you can get nice feathery thin strokes. And then I'll just kind of tap some of the excess off or wipe some of the excess off on the edge of the pot. So you get a nice thin little brush tip there with all your product. And I take my spoolie and I'm going to just brush my brows up towards my hairline to kind of see where I want this lower line to go. Now, here's where a mirror is gonna come in handy. I'm gonna try to hold this low so that you can still see what I'm doing. Maybe turn to the side a little bit. I'm gonna brush my brows up, look and see where I want to connect any sparse areas to get a nice sharp line, and I'm just going to use little strokes, not starting all the way at the center of my brow, but a little ways in where it gets more thick, and just little strokes, filling in any sparse areas and bringing that out to the tail of my brow. And just keep doing that until you have a line that you like. And then I'm going to shape my brow up top. I've brushed everything up. We obviously don't want our brows to stay like that, so I'm going to comb the top of my brow into the shape that I want. Maybe get more product if you need it. This is a very thick product. It's a pomade. Your brows are going to be in place when you're done with this, so keep that in mind. Going to get some of those brows and put some product on them so that they stay nice and straight and in place. And then we're just going to use feathery strokes upward from that line we created in the bottom and just moving up. And just follow the natural line of your brows. Whichever way the hairs are going, follow those lines. So when you get to the tail of your brow, you're gonna start fanning down. And then once most of the product is off of my brush and my brow looks like it's filled in the way I want it to, I like to check far away too, make sure it looks good. I'm going to take the residual product that's left on this brush and then go into the center of my, or the very inner part of my brow, and just do some little baby strokes, barely even filling that in. We want that to look a little more natural, a little more feathered out. And then I take the tip of my spoolie and kind of pull the center of those brows towards the inner corner for that nice feathery soft look. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. And once I get that done, I'm just gonna take my spoolie, make sure everything is blended, and try to even out the shape of my brows a little bit. And like I said, once you get these kind of where you want them, they're gonna be pretty fixed in place. This is like a, if you think of what pomade does to your hair, it's very stiff. It gets everything kind of fixed in place. So that's kind of how your brows are gonna be, which is nice. I like to know that they are not moving. Okay. Check far away. And just keep in mind, guys, your brows are not going to look exactly the same. It is okay. We're done with that. So now that that is out of the way, I am going to get into the next product from my bag, which is going to be our concealer, Cover FX Power Play Concealer. This is in shade N Fair 1. I think they have a white one, and then this is the next shade down. So very bright. This retails for $30. It is a very small bottle, but it does last you a long time. I've had this since the end of August, early September. We're now more than halfway through November, and I still probably have more than half of this, if not half of it. So I'm going to now shape my brows a little bit more by grabbing a concealer brush out of that gift set. Whoops. And I just like to take my brush and swipe it even on just along the wand. You don't need to even get onto the little doe foot of your wand, which, can I just say thank you to Jeffree Star for always throwing out those bits of information in his videos. Like, I would have never known that the fluffy thing at the end of some concealers, most of your lipsticks and lip glosses, was called a doe foot. And now I know, and now I sound like a professional. Grabbing my mirror, I'm gonna take this concealer, make sure that there's very little on there, and I'm going to take the very tip of that brush and go underneath my brows. This gives you a chance to fix any mistakes and just really create a nice sharp line. I don't do this all the time. I do this when I'm going for super full face, full glam, anytime I want to be a little bit extra. And before I continue on concealing anything else, I'm gonna take my damp sponge and just blend this out really quick. Okay, that's good enough for the time being. Don't be afraid to get that sponge on your brows. Once we're done contouring and everything else, we can go back in with that brush one more time and just make sure that everything is good to go. So I'm gonna take my concealer and I'm gonna look and see if there are any areas that need covered. I have this one spot on my forehead that's a little bit, the little stuff I don't mind, but when it's really noticeable, I have a little trick that I learned from watching makeup videos on YouTube. Thank you, Tati, for teaching me so many things so that I don't do my makeup like an idiot. I'm gonna use an eyeliner brush and get a little concealer on the tip of that brush. And then I'm going to place that concealer right on that area in a very concentrated spot. And then I'm going to blend it out with my finger. And once you get it blended onto the spot that you want, you can take the very tip of your sponge and blend around that to get that concealer that got onto the skin around your blemish or whatever. And once we put some contour on and everything else, this will be less noticeable as well. And then we're going to just use our concealer to put on the face to highlight certain areas, conceal certain things. So I am going to take it at the center of my forehead, down towards the bridge of my nose. I don't go all the way down. A little of this product goes a very long way. Another thing I learned from Tati was putting concealer here and slightly down the side of the nose and towards the outer corner. I can't do a full triangle down my eye with this. I've tried it before. It's way too much product. Do a little bit at my Cupid's bow, a little bit here, here, and we're gonna do right above the jawbone. Okay, I'm gonna take that damp sponge and we're going to blend it out. This is the first concealer that I was ever able to use without any irritation. Everybody on YouTube has ranted and raved about the Age Rewind from Maybelline, and I tried this. I read the ingredients, it seemed okay. It burned underneath my eyes like no other. I had a rash underneath both of my eyes after using this, so this is one thing that I have found that I cannot use. I don't know if anybody else has had the similar problem, but Cover FX is the first concealer that when I apply it, it doesn't really sting. It just feels like foundation, which is nice. This foundation is the first foundation that I've used where I am certain it doesn't bother my skin. I've tried using Tarte. I've tried using Physicians Formula. I have tried other brands, drugstore brands. I've tried all kinds of samples of more expensive products, and this is the first product that I've found that really it sits well on my skin. It's full coverage, which is nice. When you have a skin condition like rosacea or acne, a full coverage foundation is just so nice. And it just makes you feel so much better sometimes when you're having a bad day. So now that I have blended out my concealer, I am going to set it in a moment after prying open my mirror and just checking to make sure that everything is blended out, that nothing is creasing, that the fine lines are all good. I have this one fine line on the corner of my forehead that I noticed after coming off of Accutane, which can happen when you're on Accutane. If you've been on it, you know it severely dries out your skin, and you can have fine lines when you come off of it. They do say that they are supposed to go away once your skin's moisture barrier kind of gets back to normal. Those fine lines can go away. Accutane is a retinoid, so it is supposed to make your skin look younger. Okay. So once that is all situated, I'm gonna go in with my setting powder, which is Makeup Forever. And this is the Ultra HD setting spray. And to use this, you just wanna tap the side to get some of that out of the sifter. I'm going to use the powder brush from that gift set. And I'm gonna dip straight down into this product and tap the excess off back into the jar. Holy crud, that's a lot. A little of this goes a really long way, so I'm just gonna keep tapping this off. I find that you cannot bake with this setting spray with this foundation. I did that under my eyes one time and I looked like a ghost. So I just kind of go where my concealer is and where any fine lines may be, where your foundation may settle, just to make sure that that stays put. I do like how my skin looks with this combination of this powder and this foundation. Once I get everything situated, once I get my setting spray on, everything really does work together. I would not bake. This is super expensive, so I try to tap the excess back into the jar. There's a lot in there. Good Lord. I don't put setting powder on my eyes just because they are so sensitive. They do get irritated pretty easy, so I kind of just leave it with foundation. If I do that little bit of concealer up there for underneath the brow, and maybe a light cream shade of shadow all over, and that's the extent of it. I just inhaled setting spray, so that's probably safe for the lungs. God. And once I get that on there with that brush clean with any trace elements off, I'm just gonna go all over, make sure it's all blended out nice and happy. Okay. Now I need to contour the face. I'm going to be using the Benefit Cheek Leaders palette, but my go-to daily blush is just a Clinique blush because it is more for sensitive skin. I can use these. They don't seem to bother me. I don't use the ones with fragrance every single day because I just feel like that doesn't work for me. These two do not seem to bother me, but if you're sensitive to fragrance, think about that before you purchase this. This is an expensive little guy here. I bought this for my wedding. I just wanted, because we were traveling, we got married in Mexico, so I wanted something that was all in one case that I could easily pack instead of packing a bunch of different things. So I'm gonna take this fan brush from my Sephora kit and dip straight into the shade Hula, which they do sell that separate if you just need that. I'm gonna hold my brush by the tip and I'm going to do gentle feather strokes just to contour my hairline, the sides of my forehead. I feel like I have quite a bit of space on my forehead. It's larger. It's not huge. It's not something that I'm like self-conscious about or anything, but I do have the space to be able to contour the sides. If you have a teeny tiny little forehead, you may choose not to do that, or maybe you do. I don't really care. I'm just going to continue doing my thing. I will tell you this, a lot of people I see suck their cheeks in to find the hollow of their cheek, and they apply their contour there. What I prefer to do, and you can take this with a grain of salt, is I find my cheekbone, which is relatively right there, and I go slightly above that and lay my contour there. And I start towards the temple and the upper cheek and blend down. Try not to blend down too far because that just pulls your face down. Putting your contour down too low pulls everything down. And what you kind of want to do is keep everything lifted. And once I get a general lay down of that contour, I just blend from side to side. And once that's done, we're gonna go on to the neck. I had a friend ask me one time, how do you contour your face so it doesn't look like you have a double chin? And number one, she didn't have a double chin, but the idea for contour is to create shadows on your face And so in order to sort of hide any areas that you're maybe feeling a little insecure about, if that's your chin, take your color and bring it right to the tip of your chin. You don't want it up too high. Right there, just do little feathery light strokes, holding the very bottom of your brush, and move that back onto the jaw and fan it underneath where you put that concealer. Get it right in that spot. You're just keeping it lifted. Lifted, shifted, higher than the ceiling. Showing my age right there. Okay. And last but not least, you can choose to contour the nose. I don't all the time, but if we're going all in, we're going all in. I like to use this fan brush. I used to use almost like a bit bigger of a brush than this, and I would draw the line down because I thought that that gave me the most precision. But using this, it fits perfectly into the nose, and I just shoop, shoop. And then it looks more natural and more blended and less like a harsh line, which I am into. Wish I would have known that a lot sooner in my life, but you know, I'm not a professional makeup artist here. Just an idiot trying to get her face to look better. Looks good enough to me. So next I'm gonna go in with some highlighter, and I am going, I am gonna use Tickle today. I have a Becca highlighter as well. This is shade Moonstone. It is really pretty. I'll save that for another video. I think this one's prettier, honestly. So you can take this and put it on a brush, or you can use your ring finger. Sometimes I do one or the other, it just depends on the mood I'm in. I used to do my highlight and put it all the way down the center of my nose, but thank you once again to Tati for showing me. She just puts it here, which I think helps if you have like deep set eyes and you kind of have this harsh line where your forehead and your nose connect. This kind of brightens that area up a little bit. And then she puts it here. If you're putting contour at the tip of your nose, you want it to be in a very precise spot. You want to draw all the attention to one specific area. You don't want to make that area too large, or you're not going to get the desired effect of creating that smaller looking nose, which isn't necessary. We all have different sized noses. It's all okay. We're all beautiful in our own ways. My nose isn't that small, I don't think. I think it's rather bulbous, but it's fine. And then I'm gonna take that highlighter and put it almost on top of my contour. And I kind of like to bring it up to almost frame my outer eye, around the eyebrow and into just before the apple of my cheek, or like right on top. I honestly don't exactly know what the apple of your cheek is. I feel like that's up for interpretation for some reason. I'm gonna highlight my Cupid's bow. That's why I put that concealer right there, because that just helps your highlighter to just pop. And then I also like to put it right at the tip of the chin. And again, just in a concentrated little spot. Okay, pretty. And then we're gonna go into blush. I am not gonna use these blushes today. I'll probably use them for the holiday, but I am going to use my Clinique day-to-day blush that I know does not bother my skin. My grandmother gave me this. The packaging looks old. It was sealed when she gave it to me. It was new, but I don't know if that's just Clinique. I don't really buy a lot of Clinique, but the packaging to me looks old. This is shade New Clover, and this is not a very pigmented blush. I feel like I really have to get in there to get any product, and even like that's not a lot for what I just did. I am gonna tap some of that off though. And again, a lot of people smile to find this part of their cheek where they want their blush to go. But think of where your cheeks are there when you have a neutral expression, because if you walk around like this all day, good for you. I don't. If I put my blush here, that pulls down to here when I have my RBF going on. So we want that blush to stay there. So keep a neutral expression when you're applying that blush, because that is where you want that to go. And I'm going to feather that kind of out up towards the temple. It looks like there's nothing on there. Maybe it's just me. Because I mean, something is on my face. It's interesting. I like to be able to see my product. I like to be able to know how much I have and where the heck I'm putting it. Okay. Pretty. All right. My lips are feeling dry. I just exfoliated them. And if that's the case for you, you might want to consider, where did I put it? Priming your lips before, if you know you're using lipstick. You can use chapstick really, or anything. This is Aveda's lip treatment. Okay, so time to get into the eyes. Let me check my eyebrows, make sure that I could probably stand to brush them. How are we doing on time? Okay. I see other makeup videos on YouTube, and people do their makeup so fast. I don't do my makeup this slow usually, but when I'm talking to all of you, I can't do it in 40 minutes. I just can't. Eyes, let's do it. The next treat in my Sephora bag, it was let me make sure you can see that, the Carli Bybel, there it is, Anastasia Beverly Hills collab palette. This is beautiful. This is what she looks like. Make sure you can see, look at all those gorgeous shades. It came with a brush too. It's somewhere in my cup there. I am super stoked to use these 4 shades for Christmas and New Year's. These look like some fun shades to play with today for Thanksgiving makeup. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to grab a fluffy blending brush from the Sephora bag. Make sure there's nothing on it. I'm gonna go into shade Bare, which is this shade here, and do a little all over just to brighten everything up. Make sure everything is happy and one big happy family. And I think I'm gonna do a halo eye today. My go-tos are a cut crease and a gradient. So today I think we're switching it up. God help us all. I'm gonna dip into the Sage Cindy with the tip of the brush, tap off the excess. I'm really aggressive when it comes to tapping off the excess. Holding the brush by my tip, I am going to go in and just blow this out, fan it out into the outer corner, blend it up towards the brow, and slowly make my way over into the inner corner. Once I get my transition shade on, we're going to go in with a crease shade. I'm gonna start with my crease and I'm going to work that color down to the outer corner and the inner corner for that halo eye. So let's go in with shade Stev and slowly start to build. So now I am going to take the Sephora, there's dog hair on that, shadow brush, and I'm going to go back into the shade Stev and start to work this down on my eyelid on the inner and outer corner. Once I get that kind of where I want it, I'm going to take more of my concealer on that concealer brush, very small amount, and we're going to put that concealer on the center of the eye so that we can put a nice shimmery light shade there. Once I get that where I want it, we're going to apply our center lid shade. So I'm going to take a flatter shadow brush. This is the Aveda number 2. And I'm going to dip into one of these sparkly shades. I feel like maybe even a combination of My Angels and Aura would be pretty. Let's start with the gold, My Angels, and I'm taking the flat edge of this brush onto there to kind of pack that in. Woo! I take up so much space when I do everything. And then I'm going to take my Sephora setting spray, which I don't use a ton on my face. I do feel like this kind of irritates my skin a little bit, but it's okay for what I'm about to do with it now. I believe this has glycerin in it, so I use the setting spray to really accentuate shiny pigments in shadows. And I'm gonna pat that on my eye. Is that the right side? No, there it is. Keeping in mind that we're gonna get this all blended out. Don't worry if you're feeling like you look a little bit weird. It's all going to work out beautifully in the end. I always say, don't worry about the eyes until you at least get your eyeliner on, but definitely your mascara. If you're worried about your shadow, wait till you see it with your eyeliner. If you're worried about your eyeliner, wait till you see it with mascara. I swear it changes everything. Need to spray this side. Okay, so while this is pretty, I feel like this is almost too gold. I want to kind of tone it down a little bit. So I'm gonna go, I think, into the shade Moo here. And again, I'm gonna pick that up on the side of my brush and put that over top. That kind of makes it a little more champagne-y. I like that. So if you're looking at me and going, Vanessa, that looks a little ridiculous. Yes, it does. We need to blend, guys. So I'm gonna grab that fluffy blending brush again. I'm gonna go back into the shade Stev. Starting in the outer corner, I'm going to blend out to in, if you can see that. And then up into the crease. And then on the inner corner. So I'm gonna take a clean blending brush that hasn't been in any product. It's a little more dense. It's not as fluffy. I'm going to blend, especially the inner part of my eye here. Blend that crease a little bit. Just make sure everything is coming together nice and happy. I sound like Bob Ross. Happy little eyes. Happy little eyeshadows. Blend that gold out. I think that looks pretty. I'm nervous because I can't see what you see, so I hope you see how pretty this is. I hope it's not ugly to you guys. Okay, so I did leave some space on my inner corner, especially if you have deep set eyes. I feel like sometimes getting into the inner corner with dark shades can be dangerous. So what I'm gonna do is take this brush that I used yesterday for a darker color, make sure to get that color off. This is an Aveda number 5. This is your smudge brush for underneath your eyes, but I love to use this brush for my inner corner as well to really concentrate that product. So I'm going to use this is a mouthful, the Tarte Chrome Paint Pot in Top Yacht. Yeah, say that 5 times fast. Chrome Paint Shadow Pot, Top Yacht is the shade. I saw someone use this on Jeffree Star once and I died. I had to go buy it. Okay, so I'm gonna get that on the flat edge of the brush there. Don't know if you could see that. Tough luck if not. And I'm going to get that on my inner corner. I tried using some of these shades yesterday for my inner corner and they weren't bright enough. So I am using something else. Make sure to get your eye boogers cleaned out before you do a makeup video. I disgust myself sometimes. I'm gonna pull that kind of down towards my lower lash line because I'm gonna do some of that shade Stev and Cindy down there, and I kind of want to blend all that out together. I am so gross. All right. And guys, here's another thing too. Just like I said with your eyes, wait till you see the look before you decide you don't like it. Same with your skin. Sometimes when my foundation and everything sits, I start to notice little things. Sometimes my pores don't look as great. Sometimes there's an area that looks a little cakey. Wait till you get your setting spray on. Setting spray works with your foundation to make it look the best that it can. So once I get my setting spray on, I'm like, oh yeah, this is what it's supposed to look like. And that's why when I forget to put setting spray on and I leave my house, I want to die. Okay. Pretty. I'm gonna save that brush because I'm gonna use that again. Okay. So now I'm going to highlight my brow bone. And I like to use a liner brush. This is the Sephora liner brush. And I'm gonna go back into that shade Bare. That was a lot. And I'm gonna just highlight right at the arch of my brow bone and bring it out towards the tail of my brow. I don't want to do a shimmery shade here because we've done a lot of shimmer on the lid, and I kind of want to keep everything else kind of matte. So I just kind of like to find the arch of my brow and work out. I used to line completely underneath my eye. You can do that if you want to, but Tati told me not to, so I listen. And then I'm gonna take that same brush that I used to apply my highlighter. God, I really need a better system for this. Make sure there's nothing on there and blend that out. Okay. So now I'm gonna work on my lower lash line. I'm gonna tell you another little tip of mine. I usually do this before I get started with my makeup at all. I'm gonna take my mascara and put it in my bra. The heat from your body makes your mascara warm, and I think it makes it apply better. You can put it in your back pocket, and before you sit down, you can cross your legs and put it between your knees. You can do whatever you want. I just think that that kind of works well, so. Or I could just be crazy. You tell me. I'm gonna use that same Aveda number 5, go back into Stub. Reminds me of those videos, Steven. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. And I'm just going to really concentrate this at my lash line, blend it out to where I have it blown out on the outside. I usually do my eyeshadow first so that I can get a really sharp line with some concealer and clean things up a bit, but I have been doing this lately and I also like it. Okay. So now I'm going to take, I need new lights, mine keep flickering. I'm going to take the brush that actually came in this little guy. I'm going to take the fluffy end, go back into Cindy, and blend this out. Okay, I am liking this. I think that's all I need with that. So now, I'm gonna wipe my eye boogers off of my wrist. God, I'm disgusting. Okay. Liner, that is the next thing in my Sephora bag. I stocked up on my liner and my mascara. So we're gonna go in with the Kat Von D Tattoo Liner. I know a lot of people say that felt tip liner is one of the harder liners to work with. I feel like I'm finally getting the hang of it though, and I don't want to stop now. You want to shake your liner good if it has that ball in it. And I like to start, if I'm doing a wing, which is really, let's face it, what I always do, I like to start with the wing, draw that down, and then connect. Pray to the eyeliner gods first. Take a deep breath and go. Look at that, I just winged my eyeliner out in like less than 2 minutes, and they're almost symmetrical and don't look like complete trash. See, I'm starting to get the hang of it. So now it's time for mascara. I don't typically curl my lashes unless I'm wearing false lashes, and I don't know if I have time. Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 4:23 p.m.
I don't have time. So I'm going to just put my mascara on today. This is the last thing in my bag that I stocked up on. Lights, Camera, Lashes by Tarte. It is not irritating to my eyes. Same with that liner. People with rosacea tend to have very sensitive eyes. It does not bother me. Get a mirror, look down to apply your mascara to create length in your eyelid to keep your lashes away from your lid so that you don't hit your lashes against your eyelid. Okay guys, last but not least, the last thing in my Sephora bag is the Anastasia Beverly Hills lip kit, which came with all 5 of these beautiful nude shades. 4 of these are a liquid lipstick, and then it came with a gloss. They're all beautiful. Let's use one today. This one was kind of orangey on me, but it might be really pretty with the oranginess going on in the eye. Let's give it a whirl, see what happens. Or should we use this nude? Let's use the nude. Actually, let's do both. Who am I kidding? I'm going to line my lips first with NYX. This is shade Nude Beige. Let's go in with our nude shade first. This is On Mute. Oh, that goes really well with that lip liner. I rarely buy expensive lip liners. Lip liner is lip liner to me. It doesn't need to be expensive. I don't use it enough to really care that much. Before that dries all the way, I'm gonna try mixing. I don't dislike that. Kind of pretty. Need something else though. Perhaps this shimmery liquid lip from that little kit. I'm just gonna put that on the very center. Ooh, I like it. That's pretty. And remember, we need to set the face before we make any final judgments. I feel a little cakey, but this is e.l.f. Oil Control Primer Mist. It also works great as a setting spray for this. Shield the hair. Okay guys, so what do we think? I am loving this look. This is all rosacea friendly options. These eyeshadows that I use Jeffree Star, I use Morphe. So far Anastasia has not bothered my eyes with the Carli Bybel Anastasia collab. I never really have a problem with lipsticks. And everything you see on my face here does not bother my skin. So hopefully this helped you pick out some products and learn some friendly little tips for applying your makeup if you have rosacea. If you have any questions, leave those down in the comments. I would love to see questions about anything involving your skincare. If you have any questions that I can answer that have to do with rosacea or anything else, I'd be happy to do that. Yeah, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure that you like videos. Make sure that you're following me on Instagram at yogi.blair. And I look forward to seeing you all for the next video. It will be a yoga video all about gratitude. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. I will be doing the 7 days of gratitude coming up soon. That is a challenge that I do every year for the Thanksgiving season. So I look forward to seeing you guys. I hope you all live happy, live free, and live well. Namaste.